I'm with Carol Dodds, a good friend of mine, and we're here in Austin. She is with Athletes in Action along with her husband, and they are regional directors over this part of the United States. And she directs and leads the women on staff in this part of the country. Carol and I have been talking about marriage and things that help us, and so Carol has some things she does with her husband Stuart in the area of enhancing their emotional intimacy. So I asked her to talk a little about that today.
Thank you so much, Mary, for having me. And it's great to have friends like Mary and John because it just is like iron sharpening iron, even in the area of our marriage. We just had a really beautiful time with them last Sunday with the Macintoshes. And so I'm thankful to be able to talk about marriage today. Marriage has been something that my husband and I think as the years go on, we have found like our souls are intermingled. That doesn't mean that it's easy. We all know it's not easy. It takes a lot of hard work. But one of the things we've kept before us at every stage of marriage, when we were married without kids, married with young kids, married with teenagers and older kids, and now as empty nesters, is what does it look like to keep our emotional touch points, as we call it. And many of us were raised on the idea of taking date nights, which started early in our married life. And I mean, we have been dating each other for, in our case, 33 years. We still look forward to, in fact, we have a date night tonight. You hit on a good day. We pretty much always pick a night every week where we do that. And that's a wonderful way of keeping our emotional closeness. But one thing we found is as children entered into the picture, and as children got older, especially when they got to be teenagers, we needed to add more time, not less. The tendency is to think, oh, we're so busy. But what we began to do is we would have our date night, but then we would also have our coffee dates after the kids, went to bed. And then we began to add when Stuart would get home from work. We did this some as when they were young, but we would have kind of our emotional touch points and talk about the day, where we would sit on the couch or sit outside. Now, even as empty nesters, Stuart will call me from work. He goes to an office and say, okay, I'll be home at 5:30 and we can have a date. And that is the cue for we will sit outside, have a refreshing drink and just enjoy each other's company and just have about 15 or 20 minutes of conversation. We'll usually end that time just praying about what we've talked about and then come in and go into dinner mode and go from there. So we've just really said, like many of you have, that we want our marriage to always be one where we're dating one another, where we're, as my husband jokes, I'm his girlfriend, he's my boyfriend. We'll keep that going, even when we want to kill each other at times. But anyway, so anyway, I believe that the emotional closeness, and then that has helped us with kind of the turnaround time when it comes to conflict in our lives. I feel like because we are talking, then we are able to process through when needed the turnaround time of misunderstanding or hurt or even layers of bitterness that might be there from the past in our life, because we are used to talking and getting things out there. That doesn't mean there aren't times when the mud has to dry, but I do think the emotional closeness has been something that has come from just those intentional times that we spend together in our marriage on an ongoing basis. And we plan on doing that. And, of course, you add in things like going on special trips, special anniversaries, all those things that might sound like, well, duh, that's obvious. But it is easy when kids are there and things are going to kind of minimize some of those things. And we've just tried not to minimize them. We try to make them know that this is going to give our children the greatest security if we can know that, as we were taught a long time ago, that our family began when the two of us got married, and that the children are a welcome extension of that family, but we are the core of that family. And so anyway, I just really encourage you. We lived actually in Costa Rica for 5 years, and I know some of the challenges of living in another culture, and I think that it was a time and is a time in each of your lives or even in our life where we were able to keep that before us and know that it was really, really important, as it is today, and at every stage of marriage. So thank you so much.
That is really helpful because, as we know, through the years, it is always challenging to carve out that time together, and it's so easy to let it slip. So those are some really great ideas for all of us. on that emotional intimacy that we all want in marriage.